afternoon, good evening, whenever, wherever you're listening. Thank you so much for making me a part of your day. My name is Lee Parm. You might know me as LegoLee or LegoLee329 from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Patreon, you name it. I am all over the internet, and this is the Brickology podcast, the study of small plastic bricks. How are you doing today? I sincerely hope you are doing so well, and it's currently thunderstorming in my area, and according to my weather app, the thunderstorms are going to last until 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, and tomorrow morning, when I'm recording this on Thursday, is when I need to upload this episode of Brickology, so this is the only time I have available to record this episode of Brickology. So if it sounds like the sky is completely falling apart in the background today, I sincerely apologize. I don't really have a choice. I'll try to do my best with Adobe editing magic, but there might be some distracting rainstorms and or thunder in the background. So without further ado, let's just jump into today's episode of Brickology. This is episode 22 of Brickology, and this is kind of the little tag-along episode, the added-on episode at the end of the season. So essentially, I did this in season 1 with episode 11. My first season was 10 episodes. And then for the 11th episode, I did an additional Q&A. The Q&A was a great thing to do because it was a little bit of an easier episode to record, not as short. It gave me, less time to have to write a script or anything. Obviously, I don't really have to write a script for a Q&A. I just read off the questions and kind of ad-lib my answers. So the Q&A is a nice little break for me on Brickology, and it's also a time for me to give back to you guys. Literally, I get to answer y'all's questions, which is super cool and is a good way for me to interact with the Brickology fan base and community, which I'm really happy to do. So we are at the end of season 2. I did all of my season 2 episodes, and guys, what a great season. Seriously, I am enjoying this so much, and everything is just getting better. I think the Brickology episodes are getting better. My scripts, when I'm talking about the topics, it's all getting better. The interactions with the community has gotten great. My Instagram following is going so well. I have over 11,000 followers. My YouTube subscribers, I really want to get more YouTube subscribers. I'd like to kind of get that channel up and running again, which would be great. But YouTube subscribers, I have seen a little bit of a marginal increase, and I'm just interacting with a lot of people, and I'm getting emails from people about Brickology. It's really awesome, and my streams are over 5,500 now on Spotify alone, not counting the streams on Apple Podcasts or the views on YouTube. So altogether, Brickology, it's going so well, and I'm enjoying the heck out of this. I love doing this podcast, and I am super excited to continue doing it, which is a good segue into announcing season 3 of Brickology. There's no wait or anything. It starts next week, y'all. 1 week from today, next Friday, will be the premiere of Brickology Season 3, and like the first 2 seasons, the first episode will be about Lego Star Wars. The first episode for Season 3 will be continuing along with the chronological order of Star Wars movies, will be about Star Wars sets based off Solo, a Star Wars story. So look forward to that. That is going to be super fun. But today, a little bit of a down week episode is going to be the seasonal Q&A episode. Thank you to everybody who submitted these questions. I got quite a few emails. The email questions will get priority, and then I have questions that were DMs on Instagram. Those questions I will read towards the end of the episode. Now, if you sent me a question and specified it's supposed to be for this Q&A episode of Brickology, I promise you it is being read on today's show as long as it was appropriate. And I think everybody followed good, appropriate guidelines for a, rather PG-centered podcast. So I promise you the question is being read today. And if I somehow missed it, I literally didn't see it. And I apologize if I didn't see it. That's obviously something that can happen. I, can make mistakes like that. And if I didn't see it and did not answer your question, contact me. Email me at LegoLee329 or Brickology at gmail.com, not Brickology.com, at gmail.com, or DM me on Instagram or send me a message on YouTube, whatever. Just let me know if I did not answer your question. I really apologize if I don't, but if I forgot somebody, somehow I will make it up to you I promise. But before we talk about the questions, I have to do a shameless plug for my other accounts. Guys, check me out on my Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram. All those social medias, LegoLee329. Please go check me out there, especially my Instagram. I post daily content on Insta right now. Also, my YouTube channel. I upload this podcast every week on my YouTube channel. There's lots of other video reviews and such over there. Check me out on YouTube. And if you really love Brickology, if you really love the content I'm producing, maybe consider becoming a Patreon supporter. Literally, a donation of $1 a month goes a long way for funding things like this podcast and my Lego obsession and my reviews and all my accounts. So if you really love my content, maybe consider becoming a Patreon supporter. But without further ado, let's jump into this week's episode, this season's Q&A episode of Brickology. Okay, I lied very briefly. I'm going to read one question from an Instagram DM first before I get to the email questions. This one comes from the Instagram user named FunnyBackwardsR, and he writes, "Do you like Lego?" Yes, FunnyBackwardsR. If you could not tell already, I absolutely love Lego. I just thought that was a hilarious question to get because I spend so much of my time on the internet making Lego content, and I don't know if he was just trying to troll me or be funny, but you know what? If you're trying to be funny, also your account name literally has the word funny in it, you did a good job because I got a good laugh out of that question. Okay, now it's time to get to the email questions. The first one comes from a guy whose name is Deeper Anteater, very interesting name, and he writes, "What's your favorite LEGO Ninjago set from 2019 and why?" Also, if you have enough space, here's another question. What is your favorite LEGO weapon piece? Thank you so much for the questions, Deeper Anteater. To answer the first one, what is your favorite LEGO Ninjago set from 2019? It has to be that mech set. I can't remember the specific name, maybe Titan Mech or something. It's that mech. It was an $80 set. It has a beautiful color scheme of like white, gold, and sand green. That is an awesome looking set. It's a set that I probably would not have purchased for list price, but I actually found it on clearance at Walmart this past January or February for $19. So I paid $19 for that set, which was a great deal because it has like 875 pieces or something, and it's an absolutely gorgeous design. One of the cooler looking Ninjago and just Lego mechs in general. It's huge, it's an awesome design, great building techniques, great uses of pieces all throughout. I love that set. So that is the answer to my favorite 2019 Lego Ninjago set. As for your other question about my favorite Lego weapon piece, off the top of my head, I'm not entirely sure what to say. There's a lot of cool ones. I do really like the Uruk-hai weapons from the Lord of the Rings series. That's what I'm going to go with here. The Uruk-hai sword and the Uruk-hai shield. Both of those molds were really great. They're super accurate to the films, and I just love both those pieces. So my answer to your question is going to be the Uruk-hai weapons from the Lord of the Rings series. But thank you so much, Deeper Anteater, for the questions. Moving on, Carter Snell writes, "Hey Lee, so I have a lot of Q's for you to A. First, what's your favorite Lego video game? Second, what do you think was the worst Lego theme ever made? Next question is, what is your favorite Lego piece? Next question is, have you ever stepped on a Lego? And lastly, he writes, because I did way too many questions, could you please do a Brickology episode on the 2008 Lego Batman line? Thanks, that's all for me. Until the next time, that is ... Thank you so much for all of the questions, Carter, and I will answer each and every one on this episode here today. So for your first question about the favorite Lego video game, I mean, it's a cliche answer. I think most people will give you this answer, but it's Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga, the original one that came out. I can't remember what year that came out, but it has to be well over a decade now. And I had that for the Nintendo Wii. I played it all the time when I was really young, and occasionally I still pop it in and play it today. And I'm super hyped for the new version coming out this October, but my favorite Lego video game has to be that original Lego Star Wars game. As for the worst Lego theme ever made, I think the answer for me has to be Lego Ben 10. Now, I know Galador is one that was pretty awful as well, that I considered when I read that question. However, for me, Ben 10 was super disappointing because when that theme came out, I was a really big Ben 10 fan, so getting Ben 10 Lego was like a little dream of mine back when those sets came out a decade ago in 2010, and the sets are just these awful, horrible quality, ugly action figure style that aren't even as good as something like Bionicle. Those sets are terrible, and Ben 10 was such a disappointment to me and was such a waste of potential for a TV show that I think could lend itself to LEGO really well. I think the fact that they messed up Ben 10 that bad makes it the worst LEGO theme ever made, in my opinion. My favorite LEGO piece, man, there's so many to choose from. I feel like I've gotten this question before on Q&As on my Instagram, and I just never know what to say. There are so many LEGO pieces that I have no one piece that I'm like, yeah, that's my favorite piece. So, sorry, Carter, I don't think I'll be able to answer that question in particular today. However, your next question about stepping on a LEGO, obviously, I have stepped on lots of LEGO pieces in my days. I mean, especially when I was younger, when I'd like build LEGO stuff on the floor of my bedroom, and my bedroom was just covered in them, and I would always step on them, especially like the middle of the night. If I ever like woke up in the middle of the night, had to go to the bathroom, but there's just LEGO pieces on my floor, I would get up and just step on one and be like, oh my gosh, it's incredibly painful. I think I've had like a LEGO piece to the knee before. I definitely had LEGO pieces cut me on my hand while building. I mean, I've had my fair share of injuries come from LEGO pieces, and stepping on them, of course, I've done it so many times. And for your last question about an episode on the 2008 LEGO Batman line, of course, LEGO Batman, I mean, I've thought about it, I would love to do a Batman episode. There is a lot of LEGO Batman content, so I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to go about doing a Batman episode. It's probably going to have to be multiple episodes, like 3, 4, or 5 different episodes, and of course there's all the other DC superhero sets, so there definitely will be a LEGO Batman and LEGO DC superheroes themed episode at some point down the pipeline for Brickology. Don't you worry, I'm not sure when that will be, and I might wait until the new Batman movie comes out next year or something to, coincide the release of that film. But I do promise at some point in the future, assuming this podcast continues, I will be doing an episode on the 2008 LEGO Batman line and all other LEGO Batman sets. I mean, ultimately my goal for Brickology is to cover every LEGO set ever made, if that's possible. So at some point that will happen. Thank you so much for all of those questions, Carter. Those are greatly appreciated. And let's move on to the next question. Courtney Cannon writes, Dear LegoLee, here are my LEGO questions for you. What is the most expensive LEGO set you have ever bought? And what is your favorite LEGO theme? Thanks again for your podcast, and I can't wait to hear my name on your podcast. Well, thank you, Courtney, for the awesome questions. And Courtney has been a supporter of Brickology for a while now. Awesome person. Thank you so much for your consistent support. That really does mean a lot to me, and thank you so much again for these questions. These are actually pretty easy questions for me to answer. The most expensive LEGO set I've ever bought is the most expensive LEGO set that ever existed, and that is the UCS Millennium Falcon from 2017. That is an $800 US dollar set, and that is the most expensive LEGO set ever. So obviously, if I have that set in particular, I can't really, go up or anything from there, because that is the bar currently for LEGO sets. So that is the answer to that question. And then favorite LEGO theme, I get this question all the time, and there is literally no hesitation for me relating just to what I just said about the Millennium Falcon. It's Star Wars. It's obviously Star Wars. I'm obsessed with LEGO Star Wars. LEGO Star Wars will forever be my favorite LEGO theme. There's plenty of other LEGO themes I love, like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Marvel superheroes, you name it. But LEGO Star Wars is my favorite LEGO theme, and I think will forever be my favorite LEGO theme. Thank you so much, though, Courtney, for the questions. And now let's move on to the next question, which comes from John Wilson. He writes, my question, how did you first start your channel? Was it difficult? Did you ever think it would get this big? Thank you, John Wilson, for the question. That is a fantastic question. Now, I think to shameless plug some content I've made on YouTube before, I've kind of gone over how my channel started in a couple of videos. I made a video last October celebrating my 10-year anniversary on YouTube, where I kind of told some of my story, and I actually made a video called LegoLee 329 my story that's on YouTube. I believe I made that video in like 2017 or so. It's a 5-minute like mini doc episode where I kind of explain how I started my YouTube channel. So if you want to get more information on my story, check out those respective videos, but I will answer it to an extent here. I first started my channel in 2009. I was 12 years old and I was, following things on like forums and stuff for Lego, like FBTB, Eurobricks, and that led me to seeing some YouTube videos, and I saw some awesome reviews for Lego sets. And I currently had a blog at the time, like a blogspot blog where I did written Lego reviews, but I was also a 12-year-old, so my reviews were terrible. And eventually I was like, you know what? I think making Lego videos would be super cool. So October 2009, I used my webcam and the photo booth app on my webcam. It was literally a mirrored image because that's what Photo Booth does, and I filmed my first ever Lego YouTube videos and just uploaded them. There were some Bionicle videos. They've been on YouTube for nearly 11 years now. They are terrible videos. I have no idea why anyone ever watched them, but they did, and my YouTube channel grew from there. Was it difficult? I mean, I was pretty young. I didn't really know what I was doing. I wouldn't really say it was difficult for me because I enjoy it and it's something that I love, and I've never found difficulty in making YouTube videos because I love it so much, and starting a YouTube channel was just something I was passionate about and still am passionate about. So in terms of difficulty, there's definitely been some, hardships here and there, but YouTube changing things and algorithms and losing subscribers and all that sort of stuff. And I've had to put a lot of hard work into my content, especially as of late, but I wouldn't really say it was difficult for me because I just truly love it so much. And did I ever think it would get this big? Absolutely not. The fact that I got any views is kind of crazy to me. I have over 4 million. 4 million people have watched me make videos about Lego on the internet. That is ridiculous. I mean, most people probably don't have 4 million people doing anything for them in their life. That's a lot of people. That is like as many people that live in certain states in the United States of America. Like, that is a ridiculous amount of people, and I absolutely cannot believe that many people have viewed my stuff. So while it definitely could be bigger, and there are way bigger YouTube accounts out there, I still think it's pretty wild how my content has gotten this big, and I'm very, very thankful for all of that. Like I said though, if you want to know more about my story, check out those videos I mentioned on my YouTube account. Another shameless plug to check out my YouTube account, but thank you so much for writing the awesome question in, John Wilson. Moving on to the next question, Nathan writes, with the rapid release and declining box office of the Lego movies after the surprising hit the first Lego movie was, what do you see as the future of Lego movie releases? Do you ever see Warner Brothers putting their Lego movie into theaters, or do you think they will be doomed to the straight-to-DVD/streaming service releases we've seen since the Lego Movie 2? That is a fantastic question, Nathan. Thank you so much for writing that in. And also, to answer your question, Warner Brothers is no longer going to be making any Lego movies. I believe Universal now owns the right to the Lego movie franchises. So Lego movies, if there's going to be any more produced in the future, will be made by Universal instead of Warner Brothers, which is very interesting because Lego and Warner Brothers, I've thought, has had, a very peaceful and good marriage over the years. So to see them split like that is very odd. And you're right. The box office numbers for the Lego movies ever since the first one have just slowly dipped and dipped, which is very odd and kind of sad. The Lego Batman movie really came in under predictions, which is really, really disappointing. And then the Lego Ninjago movie was just a straight up flop. And then the Lego movie 2, it made a decent amount of money, but it was like half the amount of money the first Lego movie did. So the box office that the first movie came apparently was just lightning in a bottle, and they were not able to replicate that success, which is kind of odd to me because the quality of movies has actually been pretty solid. It never was quite as good as that original Lego movie, but it's still been very solid movies, and I don't know why the box office has continued to dip in the way it has. But there's a lot of reasons for that. I'm sure I could investigate it more to answer that further. But here's the thing. I can't really imagine Universal wanting the rights for the Lego movie franchise if they didn't have plans to make something out of it here in the future. What that is, I have absolutely no idea. But I feel like they would only want the rights if they have some sort of plan to make a Lego movie here at some point in the future. So to answer that question, I do think we will see another Lego movie of some sort down the pipeline within the next few years. It could be like Lego Spider-Man. I've heard rumors of a Lego Spider-Man movie for a while that could, kind of cross over maybe with the Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse movies or something if they could get the rights to that from Sony. That could be cool. Other than that, I'm not really sure what they could do. I have no idea if they'll be continuing like the Emmett and Lucy storylines, or if Warner Brothers, if that's just going to kind of die with the Warner Brothers Lego movie combination. I have no clue. So I think we will see Lego movies at some point in the future. They honestly might go straight to streaming services though, like the Scoob movie or Trolls World Tour, because Universal has had a falling out with some movie theater chains for putting some of their animated movies straight to streaming services. But they also have made a lot of money. I mean, Trolls World Tour I think has made like hundreds of millions of dollars on streaming. So I do think maybe we could see that at some point in the future. I'm very interested to see where this all goes. So I think we will see a Lego movie and Universal stab at it at some point here in the future. I just have no idea exactly what that movie will look like. Thank you so much, though. That is an awesome question, Nathan, and I hope my answer helped out just a little bit. The next question comes in from Elizabeth, and she writes, what is your favorite Lego set under 200 pieces? What is your favorite big set over 4,000 pieces? I'll answer the second half first because I already gave my answer later when I talked about the most expensive Lego set I got, and that has to be the Ultimate Collector Series UCS Star Wars Millennium Falcon from 2017. It has over 7,500 pieces, I believe, an absolutely gigantic set. That has to be my favorite set over 4,000 pieces. However, the question about favorite set under 200 pieces is a great one, and something I really don't know the answer to off the top of my head. I actually just reviewed a Jurassic World set, Dr. Wu's Lab, the Baby Dinosaurs Breakout set. You can check out that review on my YouTube channel and my IGTV on Instagram. That set had 164 pieces, and I gave it a 9 out of 10. That was a fabulous set for having so few pieces, and I was pretty stunned how much I loved that set for its very small piece count. So honestly, that is one of the best under 200 piece sets I can ever think of from Lego. Another one that came to mind is the 2014 Battle of Seleuca set from Lego Star Wars. That set I believe had around 175-ish pieces. It was a $15 set, and it was kind of a battle pack, but it came with a Bark Speeder, a special Bark Clone Trooper, 2 Super Battle Droids, 2 normal Battle Droids, a step, and a piece of terrain, and it had some really cool play features. I believe I talked about that set in my episode about Star Wars Episode 3 sets. That is a great set that was under 200 pieces as well. So those are the first 2 sets that came to mind for your question. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for your question. Okay, that does it for the questions I got via email. The next few questions I'm going to answer all came from DMs on Instagram. So let's get to those questions here right now. Chris J. Evans, Captain America, question mark, from Instagram writes, will you do a Knights of the Old Republic episode? That is a fantastic question, Chris. Now, like I said earlier, I love to cover every single Lego theme and show and whatever, ever, on Brickology. I'd love to talk about every Lego set ever made. So at some point, I will hope to cover the Lego sets technically just based off the Old Republic game. I don't think they've ever made anything that's based specifically off the Knights of the Old Republic game, but it's easy to get those two confused. Now, here's the thing. They made, like 4 total sets based off the Old Republic? 4 or 5. There's 2 battle packs, and there was 3 sets. So 5 total sets, plus that Darth Raven polybag. So there's not a whole lot of material there, and it might not even warrant its own episode of Brickology, although I did do an episode on the Avatar The Last Airbender sets, and there's only 2 of those. So I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to tackle the non-canon Star Wars video game sets. I was thinking about maybe doing an entire episode after I'm done with all these Star Wars movies and shows, doing an episode about these Star Wars video game Lego sets, but there are quite a few video game sets, so that could be way too many sets for one episode, so I might do an Old Republic episode at some point. I would not expect that episode to happen for quite some time. I want to get through the more mainstream canon movie and TV show based Star Wars stuff before I talk about the Old Republic, but after I'm done, but I still want to have some Star Wars material because, Star Wars is my biggest, stream catcher here. I will probably talk about them at some point in time. So to answer your question, yes, I will talk about the Knights of the, or just the Old Republic stuff at some point. Will it be its own secular episode? I have no idea. That is to be determined. We'll just wait and see, but I promise you, assuming Brickology continues into the future, I will do an episode where I talk about those sets. Moving on to the next question, K Doodles writes, what's your favorite obscure Lego theme and why? That is a great question, K Doodles. I don't really know what obscure Lego theme means. I don't think there's any Lego theme that's like super obscure that no one has ever heard of or anything. I think, most people who are involved in the Lego community have heard of most themes, but some short-lived themes that I personally love. The Lone Ranger is one. That movie came out, it absolutely bombed. It was not a good movie, but the Lone Ranger Lego sets were incredible. It was 6 of the best Lego sets I've ever gotten in my entire life. They completely killed it with that line. I'll definitely do an episode about the Lone Ranger sets at some point here in the future. Those are great sets, so for a licensed theme, I'd have to go with the Lone Ranger. I also, for an unlicensed theme, I really liked the Galaxy Squad line. I'll definitely also want to do an episode about Galaxy Squad at some point in the future as well. Lego makes space sort of themes all the time, but Galaxy Squad in particular just had really cool vehicles for its main protagonist. They all had different colors, really cool spacesuits, and like robot sidekicks. It was a really interesting line with cool vehicles and a lot of cool stuff. I really like Galaxy Squad as well, and I kind of feel like that theme has been forgotten a little bit in the Lego community, even though I believe it had like 3 different waves. So those are a few answers to that question. So I'd probably say the Lone Ranger and Galaxy Squad are some of my favorite more obscure Lego themes. We're kind of getting close towards the end of the questions here, but Lego Republic Commando 501st writes, what is your favorite Lego game theme? Minecraft, Overwatch, Super Mario, etc. That is a great question and kind of a weird one for me to answer. Super Mario, at the time of recording this, it's scheduled to come out here in just a little bit over a week, and I am pumped for the Super Mario stuff because I love Mario and Nintendo. And even though I'm a little bit let down by the direction this Mario theme has gone in, I wish there were minifigures, and I'm actually going to do a Mario episode in a few weeks at some point. So I'll talk more about that in the future. I'm still excited for that theme because it means Lego Nintendo exists, and I'm excited that Lego Nintendo exists. Minecraft and Overwatch, though, I believe I only ever got one Minecraft set. I've gotten one set for pretty much every Lego theme ever, and I got one Minecraft set like in 2014. It didn't really do it for me. I think the style of those sets are pretty boring, and I don't play Minecraft that much personally. I have played Minecraft at a couple points in time, but I just prefer building with real Lego as opposed to Minecraft building. I was never really into that game. So Lego Minecraft has never really done it for me. Not a big fan of that theme. Overwatch has had some fantastic sets. I got the 3 smaller Overwatch sets, most of them on sale, and all of those sets were great. They were great designs, the minifigures are great, pretty much everything about those sets was great. However, I've literally never played Overwatch once in my entire life. I have almost no knowledge of anything from Overwatch, so I have no personal attachment to that. So ultimately, even though I don't have any sets from it yet, and it hasn't even come out at the time of recording this episode, and I don't even love the theme because of some of the weird decisions they've made, Super Mario is going to be my answer. Because I just like Super Mario more than these other two, and I will be buying a lot more of these sets because simply it is Super Mario Lego. That's been a dream of mine for a very long time now, so I'm very hyped for Super Mario, and hopefully it expands to minifigures and other things from Nintendo in the future. So my answer for you right now has to be Lego Super Mario. And finally, we have one more question. This comes from A Man E Gab. Hopefully I said that username correctly. And he asks, what is your favorite Lego Clone Trooper in Lego? Mine is Gree and Scout Trooper. Well, the Scout Trooper technically is a Stormtrooper. Unless you're talking about the ones from Kashyyyk, I guess those are kind of Scout Troopers, but I don't remember their official name. That is a good question though, and I honestly think you stole my answer in your little parentheses at the end of your question. Gree. I love love the Gree Lego minifigure. It's such a cool design and movie. I love his kind of camo, silverish helmet and the green armor and his green visor. I think that Gree character looks awesome in the films, and I think Lego did a great job with that minifigure. It's actually become a somewhat common figure. It's come in a number of sets over the years, but I love that figure. It's a great looking figure, and I think you answered the question for me. I would have to agree with you and say Gree is also my favorite Lego clone trooper. And that is all, y'all. Those are all of the questions I got for today's Q&A episode of Brickology. And thank you all so much to you guys for sending me these questions on email and on Instagram. I literally would not have been able to do this episode without you and your questions. It means a lot to me that I had enough people sending questions for an entire Q&A episode. That is really great, and I'm super happy with how this episode and how Brickology is going. We are now officially 2 seasons deep into Brickology. I have a pretty extensive catalog, and I'm super hyped for season 3 to begin next week, so look out for that. And thank you so much for listening to today's episode. While you're at it, if you haven't already, follow me on Spotify. A lot of people don't follow me on Spotify. If you're listening on Spotify, maybe consider following me on Spotify. That would be a big help to me. Also, follow me on Instagram. Like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, subscribe to my YouTube channel, consider becoming a Patreon supporter, check me out all over the internet, send me feedback on Instagram, DMs, email. My email is legolee329@gmail.com. I love to hear from y'all. That is just so great. Thank you all so much for making this podcast what it is for a great second season. I'll hear from you guys next week with the beginning of season 3. This has been legolee329. Peace out. Bye-bye.